Saturday morning arrived with sunlight spilling across Taehyung's bedroom floor. He woke slowly. For a few seconds, he forgot where he was. Then he heard the faint sound of music coming from the living room. He checked his phone. 9:12 a.m. One message waited. Jungkook. Breakfast is ready. Taehyung stared at the screen. He smiled before he could stop himself, then immediately frowned. No, he tossed the phone onto the bed. That didn't happen. He got dressed and walked out. Jungkook was standing in the kitchen. Grey hoodie, black sweatpants, messy hair. 2 plates sat on the counter. Taehyung stopped. You cooked again. Jungkook looked up. Good morning to you too. You're becoming predictable. You're eating it anyway. Taehyung glanced at the food. Pancakes, eggs, fruit, and his favorite strawberry jam. He sat down. Maybe I'm hungry. Jungkook smiled. Of course. Taehyung pointed his fork at him. Don't. I'm not saying anything. You're thinking it. Maybe. Taehyung took a bite. His expression softened. Jungkook noticed. Again. You like it. It's okay. You always say that. Because it's okay. You're smiling. I'm eating. Jungkook laughed. Taehyung tried not to smile. He failed. After breakfast, Taehyung stood by the window. So, Jungkook looked up. What are we doing today? Jungkook's smile appeared immediately. You said we. Taehyung froze. I didn't mean too late. Forget it. Jungkook stood. Get your jacket. Why? I'm taking you somewhere. Where? You'll see. I hate surprises. I know. Then why are you doing this? Because you need to get out. Taehyung sighed. Fine. They walked through Manhattan for almost 20 minutes. Jungkook refused to tell him where they were going. Taehyung complained the entire way. You're annoying. I know. You've said that 3 times. And you've complained 5 times. Because you won't tell me. Jungkook laughed. Finally, they stopped. Taehyung looked up. A small bookstore stood between 2 older buildings. Warm lights glowed behind the windows. Books filled every visible shelf. Taehyung stared. You brought me here. Jungkook shrugged. You like books. How do you know? I've seen you reading every night. Taehyung looked at him. You really notice everything. Jungkook smiled. Only important things. Taehyung's heart skipped. He looked away. Let's go inside. The bookstore was quiet. Soft music played in the background. Sunlight passed through the windows and fell across rows of wooden shelves. Taehyung immediately relaxed. He moved through the aisles, running his fingers along the book spines. Jungkook followed a few steps behind. You're happy. Taehyung looked back. No, you are. I like books. That's the same thing. Taehyung picked up a novel. Jungkook watched him. What? You've been staring at that one for 5 minutes. So, buy it. I don't need it. You want it. Taehyung placed it back. I have enough books. Jungkook picked it up. Then I'll buy it. Taehyung's eyes widened. No. Jungkook walked toward the counter. Jungkook. I've already decided. Don't. Jungkook looked over his shoulder. Why? I don't want you spending money on me. Jungkook stopped. His expression softened. I know. Then don't. Okay. Taehyung relaxed. Jungkook smiled. I'll give it back to you. What? The book. He walked to the counter. I'm buying it for myself. Taehyung stared. That doesn't make sense. I'll let you read it. Taehyung crossed his arms. You're impossible. Jungkook smiled. You're still taking the book. Taehyung looked at the novel, then sighed. Fine. After the bookstore, they walked toward Washington Square Park. The afternoon was warm. Musicians played near the fountain. Students sat on the grass. Couples walked hand in hand. Children chased pigeons. Taehyung looked around. You come here often? Sometimes. Alone? Usually. Why? Jungkook shrugged. It's quiet. Taehyung smiled. Didn't expect that from you. What did you expect? Crowds. Football stadiums aren't my idea of relaxing. Taehyung laughed softly. Jungkook looked at him. You're laughing. So? I like it. Taehyung immediately looked away. You say weird things. I'm just being honest. They sat near the fountain. For a while, neither spoke. Then Taehyung asked, do you actually like being famous? Jungkook thought for a moment. I used to. And now it's tiring. Taehyung looked at him. Why? Because people think they know me. Jungkook looked toward the fountain. They know the football player. A pause. The grades. Everything I do on campus. But not me. Taehyung understood. People expect things from you. Always. Taehyung looked down. That's why you like me. Jungkook turned. What? You said people want things from you. Jungkook smiled. You don't. Taehyung shrugged. You're just my roommate. Jungkook raised an eyebrow. Just. Taehyung hesitated. For now. Jungkook smiled. For now. They stayed at the park until sunset. On the way home, Jungkook stopped at a small cafe. Wait here. Taehyung frowned. Why? 2 minutes. Jungkook returned with 2 iced coffees. He handed one to Taehyung. Taehyung took it automatically. You're getting predictable. Jungkook smiled. You're getting used to me. Taehyung didn't answer. Because he really was. That evening, they ate dinner on the sofa. A movie played quietly on the television. Taehyung had never been a fan of romantic movies. Yet somehow he was watching. Mostly because Jungkook was sitting beside him. Their shoulders weren't touching. But they were close enough that Taehyung could feel the warmth beside him. He became strangely aware of it. Too aware. He shifted slightly. Jungkook noticed. But said nothing. That somehow made it worse. Around midnight, Taehyung walked into the kitchen for water. When he returned, Jungkook was asleep on the sofa. Again, Taehyung stared at him. You really need a bed. No response. Taehyung sighed. He closed the laptop, moved the textbook, then pulled the blanket over Jungkook. This time, Jungkook didn't wake. Taehyung stood there for a moment. He looked at Jungkook's sleeping face. The boy everyone admired. The football star. The campus prince. And somehow, none of that mattered right now. He just looked tired. Human. Familiar. Taehyung whispered, You're making this difficult. He turned toward his bedroom. Taehyung. He stopped. Jungkook's eyes remained closed. You enjoyed today. Taehyung smiled. Go to sleep. I knew it. Good night. Good night. Taehyung walked into his bedroom. He closed the door, then leaned against it. His heart was beating too quickly. He had spent an entire day with Jungkook. And he had enjoyed every second. The bookstore, the park, the coffee, the quiet conversations, the stupid movie, all of it. That was the problem. Jungkook no longer felt like a stranger. He felt familiar, comforting, safe. And Taehyung knew better than anyone that safe things could still disappear. Across the apartment, Jungkook opened his eyes. He looked at the blanket around his shoulders. A small smile appeared. He had spent years surrounded by people. Yet somehow, the one person he wanted beside him was the person who had never cared about his popularity. Taehyung didn't care about the football goals, didn't care about the campus attention, didn't care about the name Jian Jungkook. He simply cared about who Jungkook was when nobody was watching. And Jungkook was beginning to want more of that. Not quickly, not forcefully. He didn't want to scare Taehyung away. He wanted to earn his trust. One day at a time, one conversation at a time, one quiet morning at a time. But there was something Jungkook didn't know. Someone had been watching him all week. Someone who knew his past. Someone who knew exactly why Jungkook hated talking about his family. And someone who had just returned to campus after years away. Monday morning, Taehyung was walking across campus when he noticed the crowd near the football building. Students were whispering. A black car had stopped near the entrance. Someone stepped out. A young man in a dark coat. Jungkook's teammates immediately became quiet. Taehyung slowed down. The stranger looked toward the building, then smiled. Where's Jungkook? One of the players answered nervously. Inside. The stranger nodded. I'll wait. Taehyung didn't know why, but something about that smile made him uncomfortable. Across the field, Jungkook walked out of the training building. He saw the stranger, and stopped. The color slowly disappeared from his face. For the first time since Taehyung had met him, Jungkook didn't look confident. He looked afraid. The stranger smiled. It's been a long time, Jungkook. Taehyung watched from a distance. He didn't know who the man was. He didn't know what had happened between them. But he knew one thing. Whatever this was, Jungkook didn't want Taehyung to know about it. And for the first time, Taehyung realized that maybe the campus prince had secrets of his own. Secrets that could change everything. Monday afternoon felt different. Taehyung couldn't explain why. Maybe it was the way Jungkook had gone silent that morning. Maybe it was the stranger standing outside the football building. Or maybe it was the look on Jungkook's face when he saw him. Fear. Taehyung had never seen that expression on Jungkook before. Not during exams. Not before football matches. Not even when his coach shouted at him during practice. Jungkook always looked composed, controlled, untouchable. But one look at that stranger had changed everything. And Taehyung couldn't stop thinking about it. That evening, Jungkook came home late. Almost midnight. Taehyung was sitting at the dining table with his laptop open. He looked up when the door opened. "You're late." Jungkook stopped. "Yeah, everything okay?" "Fine." Taehyung studied him. His hair was messy. His football bag hung heavily from one shoulder. And there was something tired in his eyes. "You don't look fine." Jungkook forced a small smile. "Long practice. Is that all?" "Yes." Taehyung knew he was lying. But he didn't push. "Not yet." Jungkook walked toward his bedroom. "Good night, Jungkook." He stopped. Taehyung looked at him. "If something happened today," Jungkook waited. "You can tell me." Silence. Jungkook looked away. "I know." Then he disappeared into his room. Taehyung stared at the closed door. He hated that he wanted to know. More importantly, he hated that he cared. The next morning, Taehyung woke up to silence. No coffee, no breakfast, no music. He walked into the kitchen. Nothing. He checked the living room. Empty. Jungkook was already gone. Taehyung stared at the empty chair. For some reason, the apartment felt colder. He shook his head. It's just one morning. He made his own coffee. He told himself he didn't care. But when his phone remained silent all morning, he kept checking it. At noon, Seoyeon found him outside the library. "You look worried." "I don't." "You've checked your phone 6 times. Taehyung frowned. "I have not." "You just did." He immediately put the phone into his pocket. "Jungkook hasn't texted." Seoyeon's expression changed. "You're worried about him." "He's my roommate." "That's not an answer." Taehyung sighed. "He was acting strange yesterday." "Because of the guy?" Taehyung looked at her. "You saw him." "Everyone saw him." "Who was he?" Seoyeon lowered her voice. "I don't know." "You don't?" "No," she hesitated. "But I've heard people talking." "About what?" Seoyeon looked around. Apparently he knew Jungkook before college. Taehyung's eyebrows pulled together. So nobody knows why they stopped talking." Taehyung's stomach tightened. "Did you hear his name?" Seoyeon shook her head. "No." Then her phone buzzed. She glanced at it. Jungkook's training session was cancelled. Taehyung looked up. "Why?" "Coach hasn't said." Taehyung stood. "I'm going to the stadium." Seoyeon blinked. "Why?" Taehyung paused. He didn't have an answer. So he simply said, "Because he's my roommate." Seoyeon smiled. Of course. The football stadium was almost empty. Taehyung walked through the side entrance. The field lights were off. Only a few players remained near the locker rooms. He recognized one of them. Minja. Jungkook's teammate. "Minja." The player turned. "Taehyung, where's Jungkook?" Minja's expression changed. "He left." "When?" "About an hour ago." "Did he say where he was going?" Minja hesitated. No. Taehyung frowned. "Is something wrong?" Minja looked at him for several seconds, then sighed. "You really don't know?" "Know what?" Minja looked away. "I shouldn't say anything. Please." Minja hesitated again. "Jungkook doesn't talk about his family." Taehyung waited. "But that guy yesterday." Minja stopped. "What about him?" "He was connected to Jungkook's family." Taehyung's expression changed. "How?" "I don't know everything." Minja lowered his voice. "But before Jungkook came here, there was a problem." "What kind of problem?" Minja shook his head. "Ask Jungkook." Taehyung nodded slowly. "I will." He turned to leave. Then Minja called after him. "Taehyung." He stopped. "If Jungkook doesn't tell you." Minja looked serious. "Don't take it personally." Taehyung frowned. "Why?" Because when Jungkook thinks he's protecting someone, he paused. He shuts them out. Taehyung found Jungkook 3 hours later. Not at the stadium, not at the apartment, not at the library. He found him on the rooftop of the residence building. Jungkook stood near the railing. His hands were inside his jacket pockets. The Manhattan skyline stretched behind him. Taehyung walked closer. You disappeared. Jungkook didn't turn. You shouldn't be here. I looked everywhere. I said I'm fine. You're not. Jungkook finally turned. His expression was tired. Taehyung, who was he? Silence. Jungkook looked away. You heard? Yes. From who? Does it matter? Yes. Why? Jungkook's jaw tightened. Because I don't want people talking about things they don't understand. Taehyung stepped closer. Then explain it to me. Jungkook stared at him. For several seconds, neither spoke. Then Jungkook said quietly, his name is Daniel. Taehyung waited. He knew me before college. How? Jungkook looked toward the city. Our families knew each other. And things happened. What things? Jungkook's expression hardened. Things I don't want to remember. Taehyung stayed quiet. Jungkook continued. Before I came here, my family wanted me to quit football. Taehyung blinked. Why? Because they thought it was distracting me from the family business. You refused. Yes. And Daniel? Jungkook looked down. He was involved in that. Taehyung didn't understand. How? Jungkook didn't answer. Jungkook. I said I don't want to talk about it. Taehyung took a slow breath. Okay. He turned to leave. Then Jungkook spoke. Wait. Taehyung stopped. Jungkook looked at him. I didn't tell you because, he hesitated. Because what? Because I didn't want you dragged into my problems. Taehyung's expression softened. I'm already your roommate. That doesn't mean you need to become part of my life. Taehyung stared at him. Maybe I already am. Jungkook went completely still. Taehyung immediately realized what he had said. He looked away. I mean, Jungkook smiled faintly. You meant it. Taehyung sighed. Don't make it weird. I won't. They stood in silence. Then Jungkook asked, are you angry? No. Disappointed? No. Then what? Taehyung looked at him. I'm worried. Jungkook's expression softened. Why? Because you looked scared. Jungkook looked away. It was the first time he admitted it. Taehyung stepped closer. Why? Jungkook's voice became quiet. Because Daniel knows something about me. What? Jungkook looked at him. Something I never wanted anyone at this university to know. Before Taehyung could ask, the rooftop door opened. Both turned. Daniel stood there. His expression was calm, almost amused. Still keeping secrets, Jungkook. Jungkook's face immediately changed. Leave. Daniel looked at Taehyung, then smiled. So this is him. Taehyung frowned. Me? Daniel nodded. The roommate. Jungkook stepped between them. Don't talk to him. Daniel laughed softly. Relax. He looked directly at Taehyung. I just wanted to meet the person who's suddenly become so important. Taehyung's heart skipped. Jungkook's shoulders tightened. Daniel ignored him. You should ask Jungkook why he really left home. Taehyung looked at Jungkook. Jungkook's expression was unreadable. Daniel continued. Ask him why his family stopped supporting him. Enough. Ask him why he came to Manhattan with nothing. Jungkook's voice became colder. I said enough. Daniel smiled, then looked at Taehyung. You think you know him. He stepped backward. You don't. He turned toward the door. Before leaving, he added, and sooner or later, Jungkook will have to tell you the truth. The door closed. Silence returned. Taehyung looked at Jungkook. What did he mean? Jungkook didn't answer. Jungkook. I need time. For what? To explain everything. Taehyung's eyes softened. Then take it. Jungkook looked at him. Taehyung continued. But don't lie to me. Jungkook swallowed. I won't. Taehyung nodded. Good. He turned toward the door. Jungkook caught his wrist gently. Taehyung stopped. Neither spoke. Jungkook slowly released him. I'm sorry. For what? For letting you get involved. Taehyung looked at him. You didn't. Jungkook gave a faint smile. Maybe not yet.